Have you seen the bill for the Boston Celtics? Sell this shit.
I hate when people stand too close to me in line.
A 6'3", 260 is not cute. That's terrifying.
Yes, he is.
He's like, help, 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 come up, help. And
Yeah.
it just makes it,
Somebody, please.
It just makes it so much better.
You think you're getting 7?
I think, no, don't question it. I like it. 7. Somebody out there's going to say, well, what if Derek White said something? Good.
Good.
Okay.
He's Derek White.
I support it.
Jason.
Yes.
We have a guest, Jason. Our first ever guest
I know.
on 6 trophies.
I couldn't be more
We had goofed around.
more excited.
We had goofed around before where we pretended to have guests. Zuri told us if we had paid him $5,000, he could book us all of his amazing talent. And then he just took the money. And so we didn't have any official guests. But now we have our
came
first
in with like a
official guest.
He came into the Zoom room, the Riverside room, wearing a moderately impressive new chain. Didn't say anything about the money. And now we have our first guest. And I should say,
I don't know if this is
what?
I don't know if this is the right energy we should start with. I mean, I think we just don't like blatantly lie to the audience. But yeah, we can carry on.
Our first guest, Jason, Jordan Robinson, basketball writer, co-host of the Queens of the Court podcast, alongside basketball legend Cheryl Swoops, our former colleague from The Ringer.
You know,
We knew we had to have her. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
you know what? Sometimes in your career, you work with someone and you're like, that person is going to be a star. And
Yeah.
it's something I felt the exact opposite when I worked with Shay, but with you, we knew it. We knew it immediately.
Yeah, we knew. We knew early on. As soon as you started at The Ringer, we were both like, let's be friends with her because she's going to be real popular
blow up.
and very powerful.
Yeah.
And then you did. And then and then you took off. I looked on
Because of
Twitter
your
one day and
belief, you guys.
you were working with Jordan Brand. Jordan with Jordan. Of holy shit, this is crazy.
I know.
And now the Queens of the Court podcast, which is gigantic.
Oh,
It's very
thanks, guys.
It's great to watch, Jordan. And so when we started talking about guests that we were going to have on, we were like, well, let's see if we can get Jordan. Let's see if she's free. And now
Stop it.
and now here we are. And it's great.
I cleared out some time in my schedule. No. Totally
Were you
kidding. Anything
like you
for
had
you
to
guys.
cancel a brunch with Beyonce? Or like you were on your way to hang out with Leo DiCaprio and you were like, I got to hit y'all back. Jason and Shay are calling. That's what you did.
My friends at Nike, let's put a pin in this because I must appear on the award-winning 6 Trophies podcast.
No, you guys come first. Always. Because of that belief system that you guys had way back then when I was just a fact checker and wouldn't shut up about the WNBA. Now I get to actually talk about it. And I'm here to talk about it with you guys too.
Incredible. Well, let's get started. Jason, you want to start the show?
Let's start the show.
From Wondery, I'm Shay Serrano.
And I'm Jason Concepcion.
And this is 6 Trophies.
Hello! I'm Jason Concepcion, and welcome to 6 Trophies, a podcast series hosted by myself and Shay Serrano, in which we come through all the basketball news from the past week and then hand out 6 pop culture themed trophies for 6 basketball related activities. In this episode,
Say it.
A'ja Wilson goes where no one has ever gone before. The W commissioner,
Tough week.
it's very tough. It's very tough. CC sets a new record, all that and more. Let's hand out some trophies.
Bum, 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 bum. We do 2 sets of trophies, the big trophies and the little trophies. The big trophies are first. These ones are the same every week. First up, the Denzel Washington and Training Day Trophy. Given out to whoever it is who had the best overall performance of the week. This week's winner, my girl, my favorite player in the league, A'ja Wilson. Clap for her.
She opened a kilo. First time ever.
Jason, the first player ever to score 1,000 points in a season.
I don't think people really get that, like really know. Like at the same time, Asia Wilson was celebrating, they had to put the apostrophe 1,000. The branding is really on point, by the way.
Incredible.
But someone else in the WNBA, Michaela Onyenwere, she celebrated 1,000 points in her career. That same day, in 138 games, it took her to get to 1,000 points. Asia Wilson did it in one season. Right. Like she is head and shoulders above everyone else. She's in her own, I don't even know, stratosphere. I think it's galaxy at this point. No one's even close.
1,038 games.
Incredible.
It's crazy. And I said this last week when Shay and I were talking about her. She's one of those players where you look at her stats and I'm like, man, that seems fake that she's doing that.
Yes.
Wait, is it 37? I mean, 38 or 37? I thought 37.
Was it 37?
Did I get this wrong?
I think.
She did sit out a game. She sat out a game.
She sat at the Liberty game.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. We had to let the Liberty win one. False sense of confidence.
Well, it's the season series. Hey, well, that's for later.
Yeah,
that's for later.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that later, Shay.
She's averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds per game. 27 points per game is nearly 5 points more than anybody else. It's not even close. She's just fucking running everybody into the ground, which I love, which I'm so happy about. I was very upset last year when she didn't get the MVP trophy that she deserved. Which proved out in the playoffs. Your best versus my best, and my best puts yours in a coffin. So she showed up this year and said, let me go do something. Let me go do something that's never been done before, that they said couldn't be done. I'm going to go do it. That way you can't ignore it. You can't give me my motherfucking MVP trophy. Yeah. That's what that was.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. We knew this season was going to be a different level when Asia Wilson showed up to her media day with a silver bust down wig on. I said, oh no. Like everyone should be terrified. If she's matching the jersey with the wig, we should have called it then. We should have given her the MVP trophy at that moment. But she then went out and showed us on the court. But it started with the hairstyle. My
favorite part on rewatching the 1,000-point jumper is there's a Father Spread My Hands cut going around in slow-mo. And forgive me, I forget who she spins off of. But there's a moment where you can see in the defender's eyes as Asia spins off and gets by, where she's like, help, 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 come up, help. And it just makes it
somebody please.
Just makes it so much better.
I was very happy, number one, that this happened against the Connecticut Sun, who last year a person who finished above her in the MVP rankings was Alyssa Thomas. And so it comes at her expense. But also she hits the 1,000 points on a mid-range jumper, which is the Asia Wilson signature shot, the little 15-footer, bop, bop, here you go, dot your eye jumper. Yes. All of the pieces just fit perfect. Again, this is my favorite player. The first year I started watching the W was the year she got drafted. And I was like, all right, I'm going to attach myself to this rookie. And fingers crossed it works out well.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. She shows up. They come within a breath of making the playoffs that first season. I think Liz Cambage goes nuts in the final game of the season or something to get the Wings into that spot. But they don't make the playoffs. And then the next year they do make the playoffs. And they just kept getting further and further and closer until she finally got her ring 2 seasons ago. And then now, ever since then, you just can't do anything with her. She has just decided, I'm going to be the best player in the world. There's a great interview that she had with on the Paul George podcast, where she was talking about, this a couple of years ago, and she was talking about, when they talk about the greatest players to ever do it, I need for them to say my name. That's what I want to happen. And then ever since that moment, she has checked off every single box to make sure you have to say her name now. You can't have that conversation without her anymore, Jordan. It's crazy.
You have to. And she talks about being top tier. When you see anything in her Instagram or when she tweets it, it's top tier. And she says a story that she was at the mall and they were looking at purses, her and her mom. And it was a purse that was so high up that it was beyond top shelf. It was top tier. And that's what the sales associate said. And she said ever since that moment, she's like, oh, that's a whole nother level than top shelf, than the best of the best. I want to be that. And she has proven that over and over. And she's done that on the court, but I think off the court. Like, she is a really amazing person as well. And when, I don't know, great things happen to great people, you just root for them even more. That she's, such a family person. Her teammates rave about her. They can't shut up about how amazing of a leader she is, how hard she works. So when all of that is kind of mixed in, you just want her to have the best career possible. And Shay, great on you to start rooting for the Aces at that moment. The ascension that team has had, the multiple number 1 draft picks, like they've also been winning. So it would suck if they were losing or if this wasn't a great season and she's having this bomb of a year, but they're making their way up. They're making their way up in the playoffs conversation as well.
Yeah. They've won 7 of the last 8. They're in the fourth place spot now. After you win a championship, after you win 2 championships, you don't worry about we need the first seed like some other teams might. They just got to get in there.
Shots
Nobody wants to play the Aces. Nobody's looking at them going, they're in 4th place. That's the matchup we want. Nobody wants to have to stand across from Asia Wilson, from Kelsey, from Chelsea. Nobody wants it. Nobody. From Jackie Young. You want to be guarded? You want to be guarded by Jackie Young for a 5-game series?
I think they're ready for it. But this is a space to celebrate Asia. We're not going to go there right now. That said, I think the New York Liberty are playing like a team that has digested the things that have happened in the last couple of seasons, has addressed them.
Getting drug, you mean?
No, has addressed them in the way they play, in the way their players have.
Losing a championship on your home court, you mean?
That's a painful thing, right? That's something that you need to look at and be like, okay, how do we make sure that doesn't happen next year? What can we all do as individual players? What can we do as a team? And I think they've addressed those. They've addressed those things. They had a tough loss this weekend where Sabrina just couldn't get it going against a very good Lynx team. That said,
too much Liberty talk in the Asia Wilson segment.
I just can't let you disrespect them because they're.
He said that said.
That was a painful loss, and they've done everything they can to show that they're ready to take on the challenge this year, and I'm excited for the postseason.
Jordan, as a W expert, I wanted to ask you this question because after Asia celebrated her 1,000th point and everybody is like tweeting or talking about Asia Wilson and what you did and great accomplishments, I thought, of course, Dawn Staley had the most interesting version of a response where she sent out a message that says, you did it with a midi, which is great. This is the mid-range jumper he's talking about. Congrats to you, the one, the only A1. Hand her things, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, whatever. But then it ends with first and last team all WNBA. First team all WNBA is like a conversation we've heard a bunch of times, right? But the idea of last team is so interesting to me. It's like, gather everybody that you want and bring in any new player that you want. It doesn't matter. Asia Wilson will have a spot. It doesn't matter who comes after her. Asia Wilson is last team all WNBA. She's going to have a spot. So I'm curious right now, Jordan, who's your last team all WNBA? Like the five that if you have to put together.
Oh my God. So is she mean, well, I laughed at it because I was like, did she mean there should be no team after this? Is that kind of what we're thinking? If this is the last team that has ever played in the WNBA, she's on that? Is that what you mean?
I think if you're putting together a segment, a roster, and you define somebody as last team, that means their spot can never be taken ever.
Well, wow.
Ever. That's that. Now I don't know if that's what she meant, but when I read it, that was the idea I had in my head.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea to me. Who is a last team selection in the W? Who could never get taken off that mountain?
Wow. Well, yes, I think Asia is getting there, and I think she is there right now, especially when you're in the record books at 1,000 points.
Yeah.
I think when it's all said and done, she will, at this pace, she will be one of the best players ever. I think she's coming for that DT. She got to play for 20 years. And I think Diana Taurasi saw that last night, and she's like, yeah, I'm not retiring. I got to run the numbers up more. So I think Diana Taurasi is on that. She's on that last team. She has to be on that just from her shooting ability. And she still had 25 the other night. Like, she's not slowing down anytime soon. So when you think about shooters, Diana Taurasi has to be on there. God, I would say, who else is on there for sure? I have to put my favorite point guard of all time. I have to put her in every conversation ever. That's Tisha Pinachero. Her passing ability was like no other. The best dunk champs comp ever. Dunk comp. Who else is on this? This is hard, Shay.
I probably should have let you know ahead of time I was going to ask you this question.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Well, I got 3. I'll give you 3 of the last team, all WNBA.
Okay.
Asia's on there, though. Yes.
Asia. So you have Asia, Diana Taurasi, and your and TP.
And TP.
Those are 3 that can never get taken off.
Yeah, and
they
I mean,
never lose their roster spot.
Let's put another one. I gotta put Cheryl Swoops on there because
you gotta do Cheryl Swoops, otherwise you're getting an email.
And one of the greatest of all time, especially locked down defensively, and she can score the ball too. So that's a 3-time MVP, 4-time champ, Cheryl Swoops on that team as well.
Those championships are painful to me. I can't comment.
That they got over the Liberty. Sorry.
Next trophy, the Lauryn Hill. You might win some, but you just lost one trophy. Give it out to whoever it is who had the worst overall performance of the week. This week's winner, W Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Tough break here. Tough time. Jordan, can you explain to us what's going on? Can you recap it for us?
It honestly just, my stomach just like turns a little bit.
She said the loud part out loud.
Yeah. This is the thing. So, okay. CNBC Power Lunch had WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert on, and she was essentially thrown an alley-oop. Like, it was a perfect question to just slam dunk home that we don't condone racism. She was asked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the often nasty online back and forth between the players' fan bases, not necessarily the players, but their fan bases. And Kathy said, the league is growing and our bottom line is growing. And that Bird and Magic rivalry back in the day, we need rivalries. So the players are getting more money. She essentially said, I'm getting more money, so this is good news for us. And everyone was like, what? That wasn't what you were supposed to say, like, at all. And so the players reacted, especially the Black players who felt very alone and isolated, as the talking head of the league just basically said, there's some racism happening, but that doesn't really matter. They're getting some more, advertisement deals. They're getting better than anybody, more than ever. But the WNBPA executive director, Terry Jackson, she released a statement that I feel like was she did make the slam dunk. And this is kind of the part that stuck out to me. She said, this is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action and frankly should have been addressed long ago. And that is what I agree with. And that is not what Kathy Engelbert said.
It was crazy. Like, it felt like she heard a different question. Like, you're answering a different question.
Mm-hmm.
You're answering like, hey, is racism bad? And she's like, let me tell you what's awesome. Let me tell you what's great. Oh my goodness. Kathy, what are you doing?
It's crazy because she could have almost not changed a lot of the stuff she said if she prefaced it with, there's no place in our game for this kind of discourse, this kind of narrative. That's not a part of our culture. We reject it. And we continue to reject it strongly. That said, growth, blah, 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 blah. And then she could have almost said exactly what she said, and people would have just been like, okay, this is wild to do this, to just be like, run me my check. It's looking good, right? Hey,
those numbers are up. Oh, jeez. It was a yikes.
It was a big yikes moment. It was a big yikes, which is essentially the tenor of the response from numerous players currently active in the league and players who had careers in the W, and the reaction was pretty unanimous and swift. And what happens now, Jordan, with Engelbert? Where do we go with Kathy Engelbert?
Look, the WNBA hasn't always had a commissioner. Right. And I think that's the wildest part. So she is kind of the first of its kind. She came in 2020. What a time to come in. But this is what her job is. You kind of take the fall for everything that happens bad in the league, and then you get praised for everything that happens great in the league. So right now she is taking the fall because it actually is her own fault this time of what she didn't say. She did try to do a little damage control. She sent players individual letters to every single player. She also released a statement. But it's a little too late. And I think it was, I don't know. My biggest takeaway was when you talk about a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson rivalry, you go back to that moment. And of course, people say, well, yes, that rivalry saved the NBA. But there were also a lot of racial tensions there. And there is a whole bunch of racial things that were brewing in Boston. Like when Magic Johnson went to Boston, you think they were giving him flowers and being super nice? No. So that is a part of that rivalry that we can't just miss and tuck aside. So I feel like she was also making her point by saying, yeah, there was another rivalry, one white player, one black player. We have to be able to know that the WNBA is 80% black women, and that there have been stories of Angel Reese saying people have stalked her, people have sent death threats to her, sending naked photos to her family members that were AI generated. Like, this has gotten way out of hand, and we've lost the plot. Like, it's basketball. They are both really great basketball players, and now it is just getting weird and disgusting. And when you have the head of your league not recognize that when she had the opportunity, I think players are like, okay, yeah, we see who you are. We don't feel protected by you, so we're going to have to protect ourselves.
I think the thing that made this part of what made it so shocking and troubling is it really kind of gives truth to a lot of the concerns that players have spoken about. Not just this year, not just coming into this year, but previously. And basically had the commissioner of the league come out and say, all those things you're worried about, growth over anything else. I don't care about the culture of the league as the people that built it. Like that, it seems like she basically said, yeah, you're right to worry about that stuff. Because that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I do feel that way. And I think we also have to say, when we think about the WNBA being a progressive league and being one of the most progressive leagues in all professional sports, it's the players. I don't want to give it credit to the commissioner and the league at whole. It's the players. In 2016, when the players took a kneel during the national anthem, they got fined for that. So it's not like it was the league saying, yeah, we support you. You're doing great. It's the players being progressive and making change. And so I think the players were reminded, and with that statement from the WNBPA, yeah, it's us. And it has to keep being us to make the change that we want to see in this league.
Yeah, it's really incredible to watch it all play out.
Burn.
And then just like, oh man, I can't believe what I'm hearing. What did I just hear? Next trophy, the Dominic Toretto I Live My Life a Quarter Mile at a Time trophy. Give it out to whoever it is who made a short-term decision with no regard for future consequence. This week's winner, the Boston Celtics. The owners for paying their players and then being like, uh-oh. Hold on a second.
So
now we owe $1 billion.
So this week, the New York Post dropped a bomb stating that the reason for the much discussed recent sale that is going forward of the Boston Celtics, they're hitting the market. Many theorize that they will garner the biggest asking price yet seen since the Phoenix Suns were sold a couple of years back. And the New York Post revealed that the reason that the Celtics ownership is selling the team is because 90-year-old Irving Grausbeck, father of 63-year-old Wick Grausbeck, who essentially fronts the ownership consortium behind the Celtics, is tired of spending all this money. He thinks it's too expensive. He's 90 and he's still counting them. He's still watching the pockets. He's not ready to let go of the bank accounts. And he's saying, Wick, you spent how much on this team? No, that's enough.
No.
And so he's making them sell them. And this is interesting. And it's a lot of money, folks. Huge money. Now, we've talked about the new CBA and the new penalties that are coming down the pipe after this season for going past the various aprons above the luxury tax lines. And the Celtics are going to be right in there, having splashed major cash on their players, including a 5-year, $285 million deal for Jaylen Brown, $315 million 5-year extension, the richest contract in NBA history for Jason Tatum, and other contracts. And Irv Grausbeck said, that's enough. That's enough, no more.
If their salary number stays the same to 2026, they're gonna owe $513 million, which is nuts. That is so much money. Jordan, who do you root for in the NBA?
I'm a Lakers fan.
Boo!
So
Get out
this
of here.
actually makes me really happy.
Applause for her, Zuri.
The Knicks fan, I love it.
Celtics are going under. We are partying. This is music to my ears.
You know, it reminds me of when my mom would come in and be like, why are these lights on? Turn these lights on.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
Close the window. What are you doing? My heating bill. That's what Irv did to Wick.
Oh.
A 63-year-old man. He came in and said, "What? Have you seen the bill for the Boston Celtics? Sell this shit."
I couldn't imagine anything worse at 90 years old. Still looking at your checkbook. Still looking at your balancing it out. I want no worries at 90 years old. And this is a lot of worries. So very expensive worries that he's thinking about right now.
$500 million worth of worries, which is too much. You're 90.
Yeah.
You're 90.
Oh.
Just sit down somewhere and relax.
But Dad, we won the championship, Dad. Oh, can you eat the trophy? Trophy gonna heat the house? Sell it.
After I think a crazy part of this stat that comes out or a fact that comes out is that the Celtics ownership group barely broke even last year after winning the championship. This year they're anticipating losing $80 million after you won the championship. It's crazy. It's crazy. I do want to be in a position one day to make some decisions like this, though. That just ruin me financially. That would be so great. So great.
That's real power right there.
That's real power. I want to look at a bill for $513 million and just only feel like a little bit annoyed. Like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Like, I want that kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Real quick, before we move on to the next trophy, I Dominic Toretto'd myself, as somebody pointed out to me on Twitter.
What did you do?
Yes. So this was during the debate. Yeah. I was making some jokes at the expense of Donald Trump, as I tend to do. And so all the Trumpers got like super mad about it, and they were sending me a ton of messages. But one of them, it was just like all that the message said was, why don't you have a real profile pic as your avatar? Because I have a picture from a movie, of a character from a movie. And so when I saw that tweet, I thought, well, this is an easy joke to make. So I just went to that guy's page and I saved his photo. And then I changed my avatar to that. And then I replied to his thing, I do. But now his face was there. Ha ha ha, super funny, easy joke. But then my account got locked. And my face was stuck like that for like a full day because of that stupid check mark. I did not ask for the check mark. They made me take it. They signed, they just forced it upon people. But because you have it, they don't just let you change your profile pic, which I didn't know. So I was just stuck with that, with some angry Trumper picture for a day. And I Dominic Toretto. I made a short-term decision with no regard for future consequence. That's my version of $513 million. Next trophy, the Daniel Plainview. I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy trophy, which is given out to whoever it is who's temporarily giving up on something. This week's winner, we're back to Asia and Bam, who are abandoning. They're giving up on the idea that they're pretending they're not in a relationship anymore.
At long last.
Finally. Oh,
it's the worst kept secret in sports
ever.
Yeah. And let me tell you, there's things that bring me joy these days. I hold them to my chest. I let them warm me up. Mm-hmm. Asia and Bam, I love it so much. Even when they were hiding it very poorly, very ineffectively hiding it, because they were both at each other's functions all the fucking time. Like, come on.
Yeah. Asia, what are you doing in Miami?
I gotta tell you.
It's Tuesday.
Are you in Miami?
It's Tuesday.
I love it so much. And now you're seeing them just, it's a soft launch, but it's a soft launch, but commenting on each other's various events, including the 1,000-point milestone, commenting on social media about stuff like that, being photographed together, arm in arm, walking the streets. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so one, I have to say, it's really hard to hide a relationship when you are both very tall people. Like, you're not hiding from anywhere. You are so tall, and you are clearly athletes, so you're not hiding anything. And we have to shout out the mayor of Miami, right? Where she just completely was unaware that they were hiding their relationship. And Bam was receiving a key to the city, and she butchers Asia's name. Aja Wilson is here. She's also an Olympian. Oh, maybe she's here for Bam, who's getting a key, maybe. And they just zoom in the camera on Asia. Her parents are there. Like, this is not a casual dating scenario anymore. She's sitting next to Bam's mom. Like, just put them full on blast. So now everyone's screenshotting the mayor saying, if I send you this, I'm about to tell on you. Like, this is just turned into such a huge thing. But I love it that we can finally talk about it because we've all known for a really long time.
Yes, it's great. We have been since the beginning. We're very pro Bam Adebayo at 6 trophies. One of our favorite players. I obviously, Asia's my favorite. So just seeing them together, seeing them happy, it's just like they're my favorite right now. My favorite celebrity couple. There's nobody I can
insane power couple.
above them.
Like an insane power couple.
Like literal power too.
Big time, like power. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see them play in 2-on-2 at the park. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Can you imagine just dominating?
Imagine that. Who's gonna stop them? What's the celebrity couple that could stop them? You think Spider-Man?
Oh, in a basketball
You think Spider-Man?
game? In an actual basketball game?
Nobody. Nobody.
I guess if you're...
I mean, yeah. Tom Holland,
Zendaya and Tom Holland? Zendaya?
Yeah, that comes close just on power and just like, well...
I'm talking
Zendaya's
just
really
basketball, though.
Like, they'd have to...
That's 50.
Tom Holland and Zendaya would have to be their fictional characters, like Tom is Spider-Man, and then Zendaya is Chani from Dune. Maybe then...
Yeah.
I don't think that they... And then that's assuming that Chani could learn the rules of basketball. I think she'd probably just like start stabbing people. I don't think there's any couple that could...
I mean,
that could deal with them. That could deal with Asia and Bam.
No.
Yeah, no.
Nobody. We're happy for you, Asia and Bam. Way to go. Just fall in love. It's going to be great. I'm so excited.
Ugh.
Next trophy. The Chief Keef, that's that shit I don't like trophy, which is given out to the player team. They do something and we just don't like it. We don't like it. I don't like it. This week's winner, the NBA expanding replay reviews on out-of-bounds plays. Stop. Just stop. There's too much stuff. There's too much stuff.
Why are we doing this?
No.
Jason, what's the quick explanation for what this is? What's going on here?
Basically, they're going to... this is kind of aimed at the play from last playoffs where Kyrie Irving fouled Minnesota's Jaden McDaniels and the ball went out of bounds, and the plays everything that came from that. So this would assess if a foul should have been called on an out of bounds play. So now I guess you can challenge that and the refs will look at it. My thing is, I love getting it right. I think we all love getting it right. I think we all love when the refs make a tough, correct call in the right moment or a tough, correct no call in the moment. All of that said, there's nothing more annoying than refs putting on headphones and staring at screens for 2 minutes. We got to figure out a way. We got to put them on a shot clock. There's got to be other people upstairs who have previewed the stuff, who can say, here's my assessment, take a look at it one time, and then tell me what you think, and then let's go. There's just got to be a way that they can shorten this process because it's already too long. And adding another wrinkle to the review process seems to me misjudged. It's all about execution, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Jordan, what do you think?
Yes, I agree to the shot clock. I think there needs to be a time limit because if you just have all the time in the world, then you're going to take all the time in the world. And nobody wants to watch that. You also just hear the play-by-play, the analyst just like...
vamping.
Just like, what'd you have for dinner last night? Like, there's nothing to talk about because we don't want to see the play over and over. And then I also feel like this plays into my theory that the refs hate this. Yeah. They hate that you are checking their job and that there is a checks and balances for them. So they're going to start calling things despite you challenging it. And I think that plays into this. They're going to be like, oh, you challenge it? You don't think I'm right? We're going to pretend like we're reviewing it over here, but I'm going to keep my call because I'm the ref and you're not. And so that's what I think is already happening. And this is just another way for that to happen.
I am so excited for when you get to the phase of your life where you are a referee for like a kids sports league because you're just going to be causing hell for those parents out there.
I sure
okay.
would.
The thing about if you have all the time in the world, then you take all the time in the world is a very true statement. It reminds me of, I remember when we bought our house and they were like, all right, your mortgage is due on the 1st, but you have until the 15th before late penalties start. And I was like, so it's due on the 15th.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
that's what, like,
yeah.
I'll wait. I'm going to wait every time until the, like, what are we doing? Like, it's not due on the 1st if I don't have to incur any penalties until the 15th. All right, let me make a counter argument about this. We have to get things right all the time. How about let's get some stuff wrong? I like getting some stuff wrong every once in a while. It's great. This is the human error argument. Sometimes you're going to get some stuff wrong. A player misses a shot. A ref should miss a call every once in a while. We don't have to go back and look at it and fix it. Reggie Miller hitting a buzzer beater against the Nets in the playoffs, and then you go back and look at it. Clearly, he didn't get it off in time, but they couldn't change it, and they're like, "Fuck it, play on." What are you going to do?
Reggie Miller.
Kevin Durant saving a ball. Remember when he saved the ball? He was like a foot out of bounds. And they're like, oh, we can't. There's nothing we can do about it. It's great. It's fine. Get some stuff wrong. It's okay.
Shay, this is, of course, infuriating to people who are on the other side of it. You know, famously, Reggie shoves down John Starks before hitting one of his several daggers against the Knicks in the mid-90s playoffs. That would not have counted if they reviewed it. At the same time, it's an iconic moment. Jordan pushing off on Russell, the hand of God moment in soccer, where Diego Maradona handled the ball and then knocked out England from the world.
Get stuff wrong. I
just think that it's of course great to get things right, but I think it's also part of sport that you just let stuff play. Sometimes you just got to let it happen. You just got to let the players play and decide it there on the court, on the field, somehow in the competition between those two players, and not like litigate it. Here's the other thing I hate about replay. And this is because we're venting. When stuff is in slow motion, you look at it like, oh yeah, how could they miss it? They missed it because it's like 5 milliseconds. Everything looks obvious when it's slowed down, but when you watch it full speed, it's completely different. And I think we're entering like a mode of perception that people don't access in their normal life. Nobody sees the world like a fucking housefly that sees their wings beat like 1,000 times a minute. Like, let's just watch stuff the way we normally watch stuff and let the rest be human beings, not people with the eyesight of a hummingbird.
Vent, Jason. Wow. Jordan, what's the thing you hate? Jordan? Let it out.
Just in general?
Just anything you hate. God, I hate that. I hate that.
I hate when people stand too close to me in line.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yes, good one. Yes.
I was a huge fan of the, 6 feet apart, and they have little circles on the ground in grocery stores. I loved that time because people just don't know their personal space and they're just breathing down your neck. Mm-hmm. My husband, who is a very tall man, he starts to turn sideways when that happens. He just opens up and turns sideways, which is like, you're standing too close. I love it.
How tall is your husband?
He's 6'3".
That's a big fella. That's a big fella right there.
6'3", 260.
No!
I love him.
6'3", 260? Is he a linebacker?
No, but everyone thinks he plays football. He plays basketball. He's so great. He's so cute.
Oh, wait. A 6'3", 260 is not cute. That's terrifying.
Yes, he is. He is
That's
cute.
Big. That's big. Wait, he plays basketball? Okay, so you played college basketball. He plays basketball. Mm-hmm. Y'all two versus Bam and Asia to 15. What's the score?
To 15.
What's the score?
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Make it take it. 1s and 2s as God intended.
What's the score? Oh,
yes.
That's a great question. Because I love how you didn't ask if we were going to win. But the score would be 15. I think we get 7.
Ooh,
7?
Okay.
You think you're getting 7?
I think, no, don't question it. I like it.
We can get 7. I'm taking my husband. He sent some screens. Yeah. If we have time to practice and prepare,
I like
absolutely.
it. I like it.
7 is crazy.
I know.
I love it. I love that.
That's insane.
You're standing
Asia,
across
Bam,
from
if you're listening to this, I respect you. I love you.
Defensive Player of the Year winners and contenders, but you're getting
love it.
7.
I don't question it, not even a little. You got to figure like there's gonna be like you got to figure like maybe 2 points they're gonna give them because they're gonna be like, well, let's see if Jordan can shoot, right?
Absolutely.
So
I counted those off the
there.
bat. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest you kind of cobble together, you know, in the flow of the game.
You gobble together, you fake
Yeah.
an injury, and then you pass when they're not looking. I think we could gobble 7.
I like it.
I'm gonna tell my
I
like
husband
it.
this. He's gonna be like, "You're insane."
You know what I have in my head? I have in my head the commercial, that wonderful Nike commercial voiced by Willem Dafoe when he's like, "Am I a good person?"
Yeah.
And he's talking about how winning's not for everybody. But there's a
Yeah.
clip in the commercial where they show Asia. I think it's during the Olympics, and she looks so mad, and she's just like waving
Yeah,
somebody
she's like,
away.
"Get out, I'm not
she's like, "Get the
passing
fuck
this."
away from!"
Yeah.
I got. Like,
Yeah.
That's how she's showing up to this game. You think she's giving you 2 points? No, absolutely not. But 7.
I like it.
I respect
like
it,
it.
Jordan.
I put Jordan in my mind when I recut that Nike commercial. Winning isn't for everybody. I put Jordan in there. I see
there.
Jordan.
I'm in there.
I see Jordan and her husband in the game, like, and they're like fucking, you know,
Still losing,
dribbling real
but you know,
hard.
winning. yeah. Winning at life. We're still gonna lose, but we're winning at life because we got 7 points. Even if I just scored 2 points on Asia and Bam, you couldn't shut me
you
up
talk
for the
about that
rest of my life. I would put that on a tattoo on my arm. So yeah.
Next trophy. The Step Brothers Catalina Wine Mixer Trophy. Give it out to the thing we're most excited about for the upcoming week. This week's winner. It's here. The race for the 8th seed in the playoffs. The race for the 8th seed. Here's who's guaranteed in there. Number 1, New York. Number 2, Minnesota. Number 3, Connecticut. Number 4, Las Vegas. Number 5, Seattle. Number 6, Indiana. Number 7, Phoenix. I like that Phoenix team, by the way. And for the 8th spot, we have at this moment when we're recording it, a 3-way tie. Washington, Chicago, and Atlanta, all 13-25. Jordan, make the call right now. Who gets it, Jordan?
Golly. Okay. I want Washington to get it just for the story aspect of it. They started the season 0-12. 0-12. Nobody even thought playoffs could roll off the tongue. They were so awful. And so the fact that they are even like currently sitting in with the number 8 next to their name is crazy. So I want them to get it just because that's a fun story. But I feel like Atlanta would, I don't know, put up a better fight in the postseason. So I kind of want Atlanta to get it. Tina Charles making a comeback. Ryan Howard can have some monster games. So I feel like that would be a better game for Atlanta. Chicago, Angel Reese is out for the season. Camila Cardoso just re-aggravated her shoulder. So that's not going to be a real fight if Chicago made it. It wouldn't be that Chicago team that got them there.
So you think so you want Washington, but you think Atlanta. That's what you're saying. That feels pretty right to me. I was really hoping for a miracle that Angel, they were going to be like, "Oh, actually we're in the playoff hunt, she's back." The wrist wasn't that bad, she's back. That would have been great to see her in the playoffs. But that's not going to happen. I think I like the Washington story as well. But I'm trying to figure out whoever it is, they're going to be fed to the New York Liberty in that first matchup, which is a disaster.
I know.
But still, who could steal a game? You know what I mean? That's what
We're
I'm trying to figure out in my
taping
head.
this on Tuesday morning, and I think tonight is going to be decisive. The Mystics have the Liberty tonight. That is a high hill climb to keep their hopes alive tonight. Chicago is playing Atlanta tonight, so I think we're going to get an answer tonight. We're going to get an answer tonight.
And the thing is, the Mystics and Atlanta played each other twice last week, and the Mystics won that first game, and the second game went into overtime. Game. And it's like an overtime decisive game for the 8th spot. I love it here, but I was like, Mystics. I just kind of wanted to have a lighter and just like light it under their asses. Like, you could make the playoffs if you win this game. Like, just win the game. And they just whiffed it so many times at the end of regulation and at the end of overtime. So they lost by 3 points. And yes, they have the Liberty tonight, and they're going to be thinking, we could have made the playoffs. We just had to beat Atlanta. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But stranger things have happened, like an 0-12 team even being in conversation to be in the playoffs. So
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, a couple of playoff questions before we let you out of here, Jordan. Thank you again for being here. A couple of playoff questions. We'll go big to small. Who wins the championship this year? Who is it?
I think Jason's gonna really like this answer. I think the New York Liberty win the championship, but they are going to have to go through the Aces and the Minnesota Lynx. And I think that is why, if they make it through those, like, yes, you are winning the championship. You deserve so. They look like a different team this year. They look focused. Sabrina is playing out of her mind. She has a floater. Sabrina Ionescu has a float.
You can't just run her off the line anymore. You can't just isolate her out there beyond the arc, and she's got stuff now. She's got stuff now.
She's got stuff. She's added more things to her bag, and I think that was something that she needed. Brianna Stewart is still the reigning MVP. So they put all these pieces together. I'm so sorry. But I think that's it.
But
Minnesota is a sneaky Lynx, though.
They're a tough team. They're very tough.
Oh, that's
clever. They are a tough team, and you can't put behind the dynasties and the Cheryl Reeve-ness of the postseason that they could just shock everybody and win it.
Best defensive team in the league. They're scary. They're a scary squad.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. If you're not allowed to say the Liberty, anybody from the Liberty, if you're not allowed to say anybody from the Aces, who's going to be the most important player in the playoffs that's not on one of those teams?
The most important player in the playoffs, I would say, it is Nafisa Collier. Nafisa Collier.
She's been great.
At Minnesota. It sucks that Asia is having such a dominant season, because I think Nafisa Collier, they're calling her MVP fee. But she's like, I'm not going to get it. Asia's out of this world. If you take Asia out of it, Nafisa Collier has been that. And I think in this playoffs, it would be a perfect time to show just how dominant she is and how she has taken this team as far as they have. Like, they're 29-9. Nobody would have really guessed that going into this season. So if she can put together a finals MVP type performance, then they would win the championship over the Lynx or over the Liberty.
Two more. Next one. What do the Connecticut Sun do in the playoffs? Because it feels like they're always like, if we just overachieve a tiny bit, we could do it. The three right now, what do they do in the playoffs?
Here's the thing. For the Connecticut Sun, they have always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. They are the most, a franchise has never been to the finals more and lost than the Connecticut Sun.
And I thank them for that.
This is do or die.
And I thank them for that.
Yeah. Like, you blow it up after the season if you don't make it to the finals.
Wow. Okay.
I wrote about it.
Finals or blow it up.
The other week, because it's like, come on. You have DeWanna Bonner, who's in year 15, giving you all that she's got. Alyssa Thomas is fighting people for this championship. And they've had some slippage. I think they started the season really strong, but we never know what Sun team are going to get in the playoffs. And I think they also know that, and we all know that. So when the playoffs start, it's like, who's going to show up? We don't know. They have to do a lot to climb the mountain, and I don't know if they have all the pieces this year.
All right, last question. What do the Indiana Fever do in the playoffs? Do they overachieve? Do they underachieve? Or do they? What's their level here?
They've already overachieved by even getting to the playoffs. First time for almost all of this team to be in the playoffs. The first time the franchise has been here since 2016. So Caitlin Clark was 13 years old the last time the Fever were in the playoffs. The last time the Fever won 20 games in a season, they went to the finals with Tamika Catching.
Oh, shit.
So, like, it's been a long time coming, and I don't think everybody thought it would happen in the first year. So they've already overachieved. If it stays where it is right now, who are they going to be playing?
Connecticut.
Minnesota? No, Connecticut. I think they're going to get one, but I think Connecticut's gonna do what they're supposed to do. If the right Connecticut Sun team shows up.
So if the Fever if the Fever win one game, they will have achieved what you wanted them to. More than one they've overachieved, less than one they've underachieved.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We're going to circle back on that. Jordan, this was incredible. Thank you for being on the show. We were so happy to have you. This is a tremendous time. Everybody, make sure you go subscribe to the Queens of the Court podcast with Jordan and Cheryl, and we're gonna have you back sometime, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Jason, do you want to do the little trophies?
Let's do the little trophies.
These ones change each week and are situation specific. They're for the smaller storylines that we want to mention, but don't need to get all the way into. My first little trophy. This is the Matt Damon and John Turturro and Rounders. What do you need? 500? A grand? I need 15,000. 15. I need a blowjob from Christy Turlington. Get the fuck out of here. $15,000 trophy.
What do you need? 500? Grand? Huh?
I love this moment.
15,000. 15.
John Turturro, incredible actor.
I need a blowjob from Christy Turlington. Get the fuck out of here. $15,000? Seriously.
That trophy goes to Kyle Kuzma, who said he wants to play for Team USA in 2028. Yeah, me too. Me too, Kyle.
I
want to play for Team USA also.
It's crazy to have the same aspirations as an NBA player. My first little trophy is LeBron James in Trainwreck. You got to go for it. You got to focus if you want to take it to the next level. You have to. Trophy 2. To Jen Tran, the Bachelorette's Jen Tran, who, having spurned or been spurned by, we're not going to wade into the drama of who spurned who at the end of the Bachelorette, but Jen Tran, having had a reality television relationship fizzle, is now shooting her shot with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Max Strus, having revealed on a podcast that she's a fan of Mr. Strus and that he should reach out. Jen, I hope it works out for you. Now, she went Jason Tatum first, realized he's in a relationship, and then changed it to Max Strus, keeping it in the Eastern Conference. I'm rooting for you, Jen.
Keeping it in the Eastern Conference is great. My second little trophy. This is the Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York. Somebody steals from me. I cut off his hands.
He offends me.
He offends me. I cut off his tongue. He rises against me. I cut off his head, stick it on a pike, and raise it up high so all in the streets can see. That's what preserves the order of things. Trophy. To Derek White. Derek White is at a football game. Somebody takes a swing. You took a swing at Derek White? Who doesn't love Derek White? Derek, you need to fucking cut off his head, stick it on a pike,
That's right.
and raise it up high so all the streets can see. You do not take a swing at Derek White. Derek White? Why are you mad at Derek White?
He knocks off my hat. I cut off his eyes. I cut his eyes out.
I can't believe somebody did that to Derek White.
It's
Derek White.
I can't. And it was kind of like a cheapie too. Like walked up and then just was like,
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
What a jerk. Whoever that person is. You're a jerk. You're a real first-class
Now
jerk.
somebody out there's going to say, well, what if Derek White said something? Good.
Good.
Okay.
He's Derek White.
I support it. What if Derek White started it? Okay, fine
Awesome.
then.
I like Derek White more.
My next little trophy is the Joker from The Dark Knight. Ha 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 ha. Oh he ha ha. Oh e ah ha 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 aha. Trophy 2 to Sydney Colson, the Las Vegas Aces. Sydney Colson's just her social media presence, her basic personality.
She's so
in
funny.
general. She
so
is
funny.
legitimately so fucking funny. There's a clip that has been making the rounds of Sydney on the Aces plane. Sydney announcing to her followers that the Aces got the dub, and Asia's reaction from like 2 rows back is like, "Why are you screaming when we're all trying to relax on the team plane?" And there's another clip of when Asia was out versus the Liberty, right? Becky Hammond's drawing up a play. Asia's watching and kind of like saying, inspiring the squad. And Sydney's like leaning against her like a little kid so that like Asia has to like push her off and be like, "What are you doing?" There's just these little things that she's doing all the time that just make me laugh. I love Sydney Colson's personality in general. She's so funny to me.
She's very funny. My last little trophy, the Ross from Friends. Hey, Ross, it's Joey. There's a hooker over here, and we thought maybe you'd know something about it. No. I need to lie down. Trophy. To the NBA. This is playing off of the I need to lie down thing. The NBA has begun working to lease Airbus planes with custom lie flat beds in them for the players. We got airplanes with beds for you to lie down in. Great.
My final little trophy is the architect from the Matrix series. "You are the eventuality of an anomaly, which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony." 2, our current position in the Ben Simmons hype cycle. Chris Brickley.
It's back.
Listen, I feel like along with walking outside and feeling the temperature beginning to crisp up a little and seeing what time the sun is setting, along with those markers of where we are in the calendar, there is the inevitable post from the coach, the technical basketball crafts person who is working with Ben Simmons, telling us, "Oh my God, guys, this guy looks great." Here is Chris Brickley in a recent post 16 hours ago on his social media, on his Instagram, stating Ben Simmons is back to playing at all-star talent level basketball. Big season loading. I feel like we see it every year. And listen, I wish Ben the best. Do I think that this is going to happen?
This is the year, Jason.
I highly doubt it. Now, Ben is in a contract year and he really needs it. But I highly doubt it, considering that he just struggles to be on the court in general. So let's see. But like, this is where we are in the hype cycle. Hype cycle is loading. All-star talent level basketball being seen by the people who are on the payroll of Ben Simmons, by Ben Simmons.
When is the last time you watched the Matrix 2 with the architect?
Oh, maybe within 3 months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago.
I was surprised how much I liked it. I remember not liking it the first time and then rewatch. But I also remember the first time I watched it, getting to that scene when Neo walks into the room and the architect is there, and the guy starts talking, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" Like,
this shit?
No idea what he's talking about.
Punch this guy.
And like, do your Neo stuff. He's right there. But then I remember going to rewatch it later when I was an adult, and I was like, I'm gonna understand what that guy's talking about here.
That's how you know you got old. I'm
gonna
same
focus.
That's
I'm gonna focus, and I'm gonna know what he's talking about. And he starts
going, yeah.
And he starts, and I'm like, I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. And then by like sentence 4, I'm lost again. Oh fuck! I couldn't keep up anymore. But man, that's a benefit of getting old. I like being old.
Yeah,
shit changes a little bit. We did it again, Jason. Another perfect
we did
episode.
It again.
With Jordan, too, we close every episode just by saying the names of underappreciated old basketball players with no context at all, while the theme music carries us out. Zuri, will you play the theme music, please? I'm Shea Serrano. That's Jason Concepcion. Producer Zuri in the shadows, making the noises. Also, Jordan Robinson is our first ever guest. Thank you again. See y'all next week. I'm doing, in honor of Jordan, I'm just doing other famous Jordans. Jordan Childs, Olympian, gold medalist.
I'm doing players that appeared in the finals for the Liberty, because we're going to do it for them this year. Teresa Weatherspoon.
Jordan Poole. Remember him?
Oh, man. One of our great Jordans. Crystal Robinson.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael Jordan to some. Tamika Whitmore.